It's a 15-minute race for the PBS Brakes Hot Hats Championship. Penultimate race of the day is very shortly to get underway. Jake Renshaw in the black and white car on the front of the grid. Doesn't make quite such a good start as Joseph McMullen from second on the grid, and can he make advantage of that inside starting position to get into Copse Corner in first place? Yes, he can. So it looks like it's McMullen leading and Renshaw from pole position back down to P2 in this Type R dominated front of the grid. The wheel to wheel, the two men from the front row. It is going to be McMullen that seals the deal down into Beckett's. G-Max made a good start. Gordon McMillan is massively sideways and out of shape through Beckett's, but he was up to about fourth position as they headed through there, and off they go up the Wellington Straight. There's some smoke in the middle of the pack. Not quite sure what the reason for that is, but McMillan has still got Renshaw alongside him as they turn their way into the left-hander at Brooklands Corner. They are still absolutely together, and now it's Renshaw with the inside line for Luffield Corner, and he's got that done. So Renshaw lost ground at the start, but he's got the lead back by the end of lap one.
That deserves a golf clap from the BRDC grandstand. Extraordinary stuff off the road. Sheikh Havana's Honda Civic in number 93. That was the car that started on pole position for race one, wasn't it?
And retired from the lead, so obviously not everything sorted with that car for race two, although the team will have worked hard to get it back out. So yeah, race two, lap two. It's Jake Renshaw leading Joseph McMillan, Lewis Ellis, Lewis Barker. Gordon McMillan leads in Class B, and Joshua Hilton is leading in Class C.
That's a great move again from Jake Renshaw, and Lewis Ellis has usurped Lewis Barker for the last spot on the podium at the moment, both getting around Gordon McMillan as well, but yeah, Lewis Ellis in 52. Leading at the moment, that second train of cars. They're going into the yellow flag zone where the number 93 car is it? Yep, Sheikh Havana has parked up at the side of the road. There is the Class B leader, Gordon McMillan, with Alex Foden for close company, and Stuart Kennedy, who was promoted to the podium after a post-race penalty for John Labella.
So making their way through to the end of lap two of what's probably going to be a 13-lap race for the PBS Brakes Hot Hats Championship. Renshaw pulling out a 1.1 second lead there on the first flying lap of the race. A 0.8 second gap back to Ellis in third position. The 29 car made a move on that lap. That was Matthew Hale in his Mini Cooper S, so he's now got ahead of Stuart Kennedy for seventh position. As we're watching the two Lewises do battle here, Ellis and Barker. Barker in the black and green number 15 car, Ellis in the red and blue number 52 car.
Barker's finished third in every race so far this season, and obviously Lewis Ellis wants to do something about that and demote him to fourth for this one, clearly. But it's a close battle going into Brooklands. Lewis Ellis, who didn't feature too much in terms of the overall battle in race one. It was actually the Class B cars he was having to squabble with, but now in this podium fight with Lewis Barker.
Yes, so Lewis Ellis there, 31-year-old from Sheffield, in only his second season of racing. Did some motocross before and endurance bike racing as well. It's a Danny Hobson prepared car, this one, as many of the Type Rs that we see on the grid are. Now for the lead, Jake Renshaw's extending that to 1.3 seconds over Joseph McMullen, and the gap from second to third has gone out to 2.4 seconds now, but it's still very tight between Ellis and Barker. And looking into the Class B battle, which we're not seeing on screen at the moment, it's only 4/10 between Gordon McMillan and Alex Foden.
Ellis there going for his first podium finish. That's the lead in Class B with Macmillan. It's tough having a McMullen and a Macmillan in the same race, but Alex Foden in the Clio, who was a championship leader going into this weekend. Oh, contact for third position as Lewis Barker dived on the inside of Lewis Ellis. They banged doors. Both seem to have gotten away with it, though, so a little wide on the exit goes Barker, and trying to come back around the outside comes Ellis, although that's going to be a very difficult manoeuvre to pull off indeed. So for now, it's Lewis Barker up into third position.
Yeah, absolutely right. So there goes Jake Renshaw, extending his lead now to 1.7 seconds, and it's another 3.4 seconds back to Barker and Ellis, who in battling are slowing each other up a little bit. They in turn have a sort of 3-second advantage over the Macmillan-Foden squabble. Massively out of shape there was Lewis Barker.
I think Lewis Ellis also had his own moment as well. Very odd how they both managed to. And Ellis has got a little bit of rear bodywork damage as well as a result of that contact. This is the Class B battle again with Fodden trying to get around Macmillan, who was the bridesmaid in both races in class the opening meeting at Donington Park, whereas it was Fodden who was taking the honours last time out, but of course second to Trafford King earlier on today. But obviously King not taking part in this race, so Fodden now with Macmillan as a class rival for the lead. Spreading out a little bit at the front now with Lewis Barker trying to pull away from Lewis Ellis. And Barker, well, it looks like he'll continue his third place finishing trend if things stay as they are. 106.2 done by the race leader Jake Renshaw last time around, and so the gap up to nearly 2.9 seconds with just under 9 minutes to go.
Yeah, so Macmillan and Foden disputing the Class B lead. In Class C, it is still Josh Hilton. He's got 1, 2, 3 cars between himself and second place, Will Bartup in that class. So Hilton looking good here. He was 3 points behind Alex Foden coming into this weekend in the championship. I think it'll be quite tight after this meeting before the next round of the championship at Silverstone, which is a triple header, so that's going to be an important week in the championship calendar, because 3 races at Snetterton, it could be a decisive weekend in the hot hatch season. But we're already seeing that some drivers not necessarily doing all of the rounds, and that does mix things up a little bit. It's a question then of trying to see which ones are going to be here consistently, and it looks like Lewis Barker and Lewis Ellis possibly amongst those, so they could be contenders for the Class A championships this season.
Very wide line for Alex Fodden going around Luffield, and something tells me it was more a mistake than experimentation, trying to get some momentum down the start and finish straight, but that didn't work at all for him. You see the string of Class B cars in the timing tower, and still a lot of Civics in that class as well, with the 116 there, Matthew Morgan in the slightly newer Type R. See what I mean about that? The generation after the EP3 just doesn't look as nice, does it? As we were talking about that in the Type R races earlier, as he's chased by a flurry of the older machines, so Lee Rickard and Andy Stevens there as well, and it's the Class A Matt Warren number 78 machine as well. Oh, dive on the inside, and the newer Type R gets a tag, so the sort of younger sibling gets pushed out wide, and I think he was trying to give that place back straight away. Actually, was Lee Rickard there? Or yeah, look, he's pulling over, I think, to sort of apologise for that one.
Yeah, I mean, we know it's not as pretty as the older Type Rs, the EP3s, but there's no need to do that.
Yes, that's what you get.
Anyway, they turn their way out of Woodcote to complete another lap. Jake Renshaw still leading forward by 4.275 seconds now. He's got the best lap of the race, a 106.258, which is faster than he went in race 1 as well. That's the leader. He's 4.2 seconds clear, as I say, from Joe McMullen. So the first 4 now are actually well spread out, which is why we're looking at this battle a bit further back, really, which is for 9th backwards, isn't it? Just looking at the running order.
There's Josh Hilton at the back of this queue in the leading Class C car, picking up a little bit of the grass there on the exit of the corner, but that BMW compact that led him to the overall championship last year in his first campaign, and taking over the Class C championship lead earlier this morning as well, just at the back of this queue. Won't be gaining any points for passing cars that aren't in his class. But I'm sure he'll try and mix it up, much as David Drinkwater did when he was driving that car.
Yes, he's 5-time champion in the hot hatch.
I was thinking about this earlier. We've had so much sort of rotation in a lot of the different championships. All those people who've won multiple titles in recent years are starting to move on a little bit.
It's good that other drivers get the chance, isn't it, to come in and stamp their authority. And it is interesting that it is often or always the Class C driver that does win the Hot Hats Championship overall. Possibly their cars have better reliability than some of the more stressed, more powerful machines. As we watched Matthew Morgan coming through then in that number 116 car, the 43-year-old managing director from Leeds, supported by his kids, Max and George. And in his fourth season of racing, he was second in Class B last year. It's an FN2 chassis, K20 engine in that car, and he's being challenged by Lee Rickard, who we saw out yesterday in the Type R Trophy.
Yeah, so attempt number 2 for Lee Rickard here on Matthew Morgan, trying to get the move done without making contact. He did yield the spot going into Copse after that little nudge into Brooklands. So they'll come across the timing line pretty close together. The car behind as well, which is it's not Josh Hilton. Feel like they're missing on the timing screen there. I'll try and pick that up in a little bit.
We've got Matt Warren immediately behind him, I think, in the Class A car. Then it's Joshua Hilton in the white.
Yes, that's the one we're looking for. Matt Warren in the Civic. Yes, slightly more modified Civic than the one in front of him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, trying to show his nose there, but it's still Morgan just ahead.
Leaders just completed lap 10, so 3 laps to go now for Jake Renshaw in the lead of this race, and is now 7 seconds clear of the rest. So while he was big lock up there for Lee Rickard, while Renshaw was sort of looked into the race 1 victory, is controlling race 2 and dominating it, dare I say. So he's clearly gained some confidence from his earlier performance. There's a little Fiesta, and that is the 39 car, is it not, of Andrew Ward, the ST150 for the driver from Nelson up there in Lancashire. Great to see the Fiesta out, and I remember you saying earlier on that you enjoyed watching a more modified than that.
Yeah, it was definitely, it was a Class A car. The first time I watched the Hot Hats Championship, I was watching it from behind you in the commentary box at Alton Park, and I thought, oh, what a cute little thing to have out there in this Club Racing Championship, and it went and absolutely buzzed off the line quicker than anything I'd ever seen.
Absolutely right. So perhaps not quite as quick as that, this particular model, but it's still very well driven indeed by Andrew Ward, ST150. It's not one of the most powerful Fiestas, but nevertheless a good basis, and there's a wide variety of cars that are eligible for this. He's competing in Class C, same class as Joshua Hilton. So you've got the BMW, you've got the Citroen Saxo, you've got the Peugeot 106 and the Fiesta, all capable of front running in that class. More variety in Class C than certainly the top class, Class A, which is very much dominated by the Honda Civics.
Very much so. Blue flags being waved down the start and finish straight for the Fiesta, because here comes the race leader. Oh, looking up. But you're right, this is a completely different race to what we saw earlier, where it was McMullen who was the one in control right up until the last lap. But Renshaw has got this locked down at the moment in that number 90 machine, absolutely flying out there and showing no signs of letting up. His times have been incredibly consistent, 7.7 seconds over McMullen in second. I imagine that gap's about to go out slightly further as well. Actually, 7.1 seconds. It came down a little bit, but even at this point, if Renshaw was to make the same mistake that McMullen made in race 1, he'd completely get away with it.
Yeah, may well too. Down towards Beckett's then for the penultimate time in this race, Jake Renshaw. A very mature drive this for someone still only 18 years of age. Does tell you he was a sixth form student, Chris.
Yeah, you did mention that, sadly. I have the same thing when I meet the F3 kids that I commentate on as well. They're just such more refined human beings than even I am now, let alone when I was 17 or 18.
I'm not going to comment on that. Around the right hander they go at left field, or so he goes. Jake Renshaw, comfortable performance this from him. He's about to go on to his last lap because there's only 34 seconds left in the race. Lapping a second or more slower than he's capable of now, because he's just so far out in front, he doesn't need to push. Although having said that, that last lap was a bit quicker, at 106.3. The previous lap was well into the 107s. Maybe some traffic came into play. And McMullen now is 8.4 seconds behind as we home in once again on the race leader down at Beckett's.
Yeah, I think McMullen had a bad traffic lap there because that was about 1.3 seconds slower than the race leader, who's still going to get a little bit of traffic on this last lap by the looks of it, but only disaster can keep Jake Renshaw from winning this now.
Yeah, bit of smoke as the brakes lock up a little bit as he heads into Brooklands, but nothing for him to worry about. He's got a back marker directly ahead of him, which is, I think, the invitation class Clio of John Davis. Yes, it is. And he will squeeze past that. So it's going to be Jake Renshaw up to the line to win round 4 of the PBS Brakes Hot Hats Championship. Congratulations to him, a dominant performance in the end. After a slightly ropey start, but he got the lead back by the end of lap 1 and has not really looked back. Saw off the early challenge of Joseph McMullen and has come through to take a comfortable win. Lewis Barker missed a 3rd place, lives up to the name that I've just given him. Lewis Ellis takes 4th spot, and then it's going to be our Class B winner, which is going to be Gordon McMullen. I've done it now. McMillan, by half a second from Alex Foden, so a close battle between the BMW and the Clio, which has been great to see because always good to see 2 very different cars doing battle. And then 3rd place in that class, I think, is Andy Stevens in the 151 Honda. Yeah,
so that's Gordon's first victory of the season in Class B after finishing 2nd in both races at Donington. Foden has to settle for 2nd in both races this weekend, and Andy Stevens, first appearance on the podium this weekend for him as well.
Time to have a look at the results from that race then. It is Jake Renshaw that took the victory at the end of 14 laps of racing in his Honda Civic Type R number 90. Second was 211 Joseph McMullen, 8.5 seconds very nearly adrift. Third was number 15 Lewis Barker. In 4th place 52 Lewis Ellis. Then we come to the Class B competitors. Number 20 Gordon McMillan was 5th and the class winner. From number 4 Alex Foden in 6th. Andy Stevens, number 151, was 7th, ahead of Stuart Kennedy, 8th. 226, Lee Rickard, 9th. 116, Matthew Morgan in 10th. Joshua Hilton, again our Class C winner, fairly comfortably in his BMW Compact. He was 11th. 12th was Zach Burnell in the 291 car. 13th, John Davis in the Invitation Class Clio. 14th and 2nd in Class C was Will Bartup, number 17. And 3rd in Class C and 15th overall was William Hornsey. So that's the way the Hot Hatch race finishes. As I say, they head to Snetterton next in the middle of June for a triple header weekend there. And there, Jake Renshaw getting some congratulations already after he heads out of the car, Chris.
Yeah, it's just a perfect race from Jake, really, minus the losing the lead at the start. But the congratulations continue in Parc Fermé. The pit board as well, the P1.
Yeah.
And of course our Class B winner.
He probably didn't see a P1 board in race 1, did he? Because he didn't get it right until the end,
exactly.
He saw it every lap nearly in that race.
Yeah, and then the gap just growing and growing and growing. But let's hear from our race winner. Kieran's down there.
See Jake Renshaw here, just got out of the car, just chatting with his team. We'll just jump in here. Jake, 8 seconds in the lead. Looks easy.
Oh, it was brilliant. I had a bit of a poor start again, but I managed to make the move first on the opening lap and kept it from there. So another good result to end the day.
So it looks a pretty good weekend for you.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah, definitely a good confidence booster. This is 2 wins and first wins in cars. So brilliant. Yeah.
Absolutely. Obviously, you couldn't ask for much more. So congratulations on 2 wins.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you very much. We'll move on to Class B winner Gordon. How was that?
That was really good. Alex Foden kept me honest. I think he was faster than me in the long run, but I had the power on the straights, and not bad for a fat middle-aged man these days. I can still keep up with the young ones. Pleased.
So how did you find the traffic management out there?
Fine, no problem at all. I only came across perhaps 2 back markers, and they moved out the way really well, so that was nice. Should have won the first race as well, but due to an unfortunate incident, I didn't, but never mind.
Well, redemption at least. Congratulations.
Yeah. Can I just say thank you to Rudy and Ryan for their help today? They've been superstars. Thank you.
Absolutely. Congratulations. Right, we'll move on to class winner Joshua Hilton. Joshua had a chat earlier. He did well. He did well again. It's, yeah, it looks easy.
I'm just pushing them B-boys around now.
So, yes, you are kind of racing within the Bs rather than the Cs. So, talk to us about what the difference is between the classes of B and C.
Well, supposedly brake horsepower per tonne, but for something like this with less horsepower and that, it's more about momentum. So I just set myself up for the best I can to get the most momentum, and I got to thank my dad for that.
Absolutely. Obviously, you couldn't ask for much more. 2 wins from 2 races. It's been a good weekend.
Definitely back to where it was.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you very much. All right, so that concludes the hot hatches, and now we're going on to the final race of the day. It is the BMW Championship.